everybody, this is Early Medieval Embroidery and I'm Alexandra Makin. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to introduce you to my new project. As some of you will have seen from previous YouTube videos, a couple of years ago I actually produced a recreation of part of a maniple that was discovered or rediscovered in the tomb of St Cuthbert in Durham Cathedral. It was a really exciting project and I learned so much from it, both from a scholarly research perspective, but also from a technical and an embroidery perspective. And that's actually inspired me, if I want to use that word, to start another recreation project. It's going to be, of course, the Bayeux Tapestry. So there are a number of reasons why I've chosen to focus on the Bayeux Tapestry. One is that, as some of you will already know, I've actually been analysing the production methods used in embroidering this wall hanging for a number of years now. And from a scholarly research point of view, it's been really interesting and exciting, but it's also made me realise that while I now understand the techniques of how it was made, there's another aspect to this, and that's understanding why the embroiderers made certain decisions, their workflow and their skill set. And when I was working on the St Cuthbert recreation project, a lot of this came to the fore, and I'm hoping the same will happen with this project as well. Secondly, I've talked about the Bayeux Tapestry to a wide variety of audiences, and I also sell kits and run workshops with kits based on the Bayeux Tapestry. And on a lot of occasions, people have come up to me and asked me about technical aspects, what the embroiderers were thinking, etc. when they were making it. And I thought that this would be a really good way of exploring those different avenues and including you on that journey as we go. And finally, and I know this may seem a bit weird to some people, when I was working on the Cuthbert recreation project, it was through mistakes that I made as I was going through that process that gave me a lot of insight into original working practices. And although I don't want to say I want to make mistakes on this project, you never know what may turn up. So the way this project's going to work is each step that I take I'm going to video, and I'm then going to talk it through and upload it for you to watch as well. I'll always welcome your comments and questions, because you never know where that sort of thing's going to lead within research, and that's one of the things that makes it exciting. I'm also thinking of doing some more slow stitch demonstrations as well, so we might have an hours long or 30-minute long video where you can stitch your work alongside me. So the aim is that by doing these videos you can come on this journey with me. So the original wall hanging is about 50 centimetres high, and that's the depth that the recreation is going to be. I'm not going to take a panel and just lift it up from the original wall hanging. This is a rough sketch of what we're going to be working on. At the moment, it is about 2/3 of the depth of the original, so I've got to blow it up a bit. But already you can see that it's quite complex in its structure. The reason I've chosen these particular motifs is because I'm hoping that they're going to show us the different working methods across a variety of motifs, and how threads were carried from one figure, say the bird, to the ship, and back from the tree, etc. By making the replica full size, it's not only about exploring the embroiderer's skill sets and their thinking processes, but there's also a more scientific type application that can be put to it. So for example, the amount of time used to create certain sections and the amount of thread used. And then this can be extrapolated up to give us estimates for making the whole piece. Obviously, if we're being this accurate, we need to be using accurate materials, and that's what's happening, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to be using this linen. This has been hand woven to the specifications of the wall hanging, the tapestry, by my amazing weaver, Liz. Across the wall hanging, there are different thread counts for the ground fabric, the linen, and we've taken the average that the scientific analysis in the early 1980s came up with. So that's the thread count for this. When I'm setting up the embroidery, I'll talk to you more about that side of things. As you may know, or probably know, the embroidery was worked in wool thread, and you can see in my bag of goodies here that I have some beautiful, really lovely threads. These are hand dyed using natural dyes, and they are as close to the original type of colourings that it's possible to get. And you can see that, for example, in this green, greeny blue, the different variations of colour you get across the thread due to the natural hand dyeing process. And this is a type of colour differentiation that you see in the original as well. So this is going to add more texture to the project and the finished piece. You can also see that I've got a variety of colours here, and that's because as we go we're going to explore the options for which colourways suit what we're doing and the original pattern as well. It's not only about using the correct materials, but it's also the right equipment for the job too. So I'm going to be using things like these handmade needles that are based on finds from sites across early medieval England, and I'm going to be using scissors that are the same shape and size as objects found mainly in supposed or known female burials from across early medieval England too. And obviously we're going to have to frame this fabric up. I know there's been debate about whether it was embroidered freehand or on a frame. My preference, for various reasons which I'll go into in that particular video, is that it was framed up. So we'll be using a wooden slate frame on a pair of trestles. And to enable as an accurate a recreation as possible, I'm going to be using a number of sources. So that includes the very famous Bayeux Tapestry book, which has images. I'm sure this is really familiar to a lot of you, but it has really clear images that show the stitches and the colourways. But also there's a new website that is co-hosted by the museum in Bayeux and the University de Caen, and I'll put a link to that down below, which enables you to zoom in on the different sections of the Bayeux Tapestry to get a really detailed view of those different motifs and areas. I've also got access to view the back of the hanging, and so we'll be using images from the back of the hanging as well, because that will help tell us the working order and the way the threads were used, and we can then mimic that in the recreation. This is all aimed, excitingly, this is all aimed to create as an accurate a recreation as possible of this montage, in order to tell us as much as we can possibly learn about how the Bayeux Tapestry was embroidered. But just to put this all into perspective, the panel that I'm working on is just under 1 metre long, whereas the original is over 65 metres long, and I'm one embroiderer, whereas the original was created by lots of embroiderers. It's that big question, isn't it? How many embroiderers were used to make the Bayeux Tapestry? This may help us towards getting that answer. So remember to subscribe, and then you'll know when the next step in the project comes out. It's just such an exciting project. Some of you may know that I've done a lot of research on this. I mean, this book just shows you with all my tabs, it's a bit crazy. Got lots of books like this. And you may be aware that I've actually had the privilege of seeing the Bayeux Tapestry behind the screen and working on analysis of it as well. So it's really, really exciting to be able to shed more light on it and to be doing it with you too. So as I said, subscribe and then you'll be able to join me on this journey.